Hello friends, in my previous video we have seen what is the sentence. Now we are going to see types of sentence, that is simple, compound and complex. This is the last point of module number first, vocabulary development and sentence formation. So today we are going to see 4 parts of sentences, that is simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence and complex compound sentence. What is the simple sentence? A simple sentence must have a single clause, that is a single verb, which is independent. A simple sentence must have a single clause, a single verb, which is independent, and it cannot take another clause. That is a simple sentence. If there is one more clause in the sentence, that is different type of sentence. If you want to identify the simple sentence, you must understand first that there should be only one clause including one verb. That must be a simple sentence. For example, I always wanted to become a writer. I always wanted to become a writer. There is one clause and one verb. Here wanted is a base verb. There is no another verb. I always wanted to become a writer. So this is a simple sentence. I go to school. This is a simple sentence. Go is a base verb. Now we will see compound sentence. A compound sentence must have more than one independent clause with no dependent clause. Some specific conjunctions, punctuations, or both are used to join together these clauses. Compound sentences are different than simple sentence. You cannot judge a compound sentence is a simple sentence, because there is a basic difference, and that is simple sentence contains one clause and one verb. On the other hand, compound sentence contains more than one clause with independent verbs. So here is an example of compound sentence. I always wanted to become a writer and she wanted to become a doctor. There are two independent clauses, two independent verbs, and two different sentences are joined with conjunction and. I always wanted to become a writer is a single sentence. She wanted to become a doctor is a different sentence, and these two sentences are joined with a conjunction and, but both the sentences have separate clause and have separate verb. Understood? Compound sentence contains individual separate clause and verb, but there are more than one clauses in the sentence. That is called compound sentence. Do you understand the difference between simple sentence and compound sentence? What is simple sentence? Simple sentence contains only one verb with only one clause, while compound sentence contains two clauses or more than one clauses having more than one verb. Means there may be two different sentences having two different verbs and two different clauses, and for that you can call as a compound sentence. Then there is a third type, and that is complex sentence. A complex sentence also has more than one clause, but of one them must be an independent clause and the other must be a dependent clause or clauses. There are also some particular connectors for the clauses of a complex sentence to be connected. Here complex sentence, though it is complex, but it is not complex to understand. What complex sentence is? The sentence also has more than one clause, like a compound sentence, but of one them must be an independent clause and the other or others must be a dependent clause. One clause is an individual clause in the sentence and other clause is dependent clause. So such sentences where dependent clause occurs with individual verb, we can call such sentences are complex sentences. For example, I know that you always wanted to be a writer. Here I know is an individual sentence because there is a subject and there is a verb know. I know that is a connector of a dependent clause that occurs afterwards. That I know that you always wanted to be a writer. Here that you always wanted to be a writer is a dependent clause on I know. What you know? If you ask the question to the subject, what you know, the answer will be that you always wanted to be a writer. I know that you always wanted to be a writer. If you ask the question what to the subject, the answer will be a dependent clause. So here a dependent clause is followed by a connector and an independent clause. The connector is that here. The other way around is also possible. So this is a complex sentence. Then there is compound complex sentence type also. A compound complex sentence or complex compound sentence is a mixture of the features of compound and complex sentence in one sentence. So it must be contain at least two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. So mind it well that compound complex sentence must contain more than one clause, and in that clauses one must be independent clause and other must be dependent clause. So this is the mixture of complex sentence and compound sentence, and that's why it is called complex compound sentence or compound complex sentence. So these are the four types of sentences. One more example I would like to give you about compound complex sentence, and that is, I know that you always wanted to become a writer, but I always wanted to become a doctor. This is a complex compound sentence. I would like to repeat the sentence once again. I know that you always wanted to become a writer, but I always wanted to become a doctor. Here, the clause connected with that is a complex sentence, because after that you always wanted to become a writer, we have seen in a complex sentence the same example. That example is here, and that's why this is a complex sentence. But the another sentence connected with but connection or conjunction, but I always wanted to become a doctor, this is an independent sentence. This is a compound sentence with having individual compound sentence having individual clause and individual verb, and that's why this is called a compound complex sentence, because there is a compound sentence also with beginning of the conjunction but I always, this is a compound sentence, and there is complex sentence also begins with that you always wanted to become a writer, which is a dependent clause on I know, because it is connected to I know. I is a subject of the sentence and know is a verb of the sentence. That you always I know is connected with that word, and the sentence coming after that is a clause, and that is dependent clause, and that is why the sentence is a complex sentence. So the example is the blending of complex and compound sentence, so that you can easily understand that dependent clause and individual clause both are there in the sentence, and that's why it is called compound complex sentence. Here, one dependent clause is followed by a complex connector and two dependent clauses with a compound conjunction between them. There are compound conjunctions between both of them, that is but and they. So you can easily understand compound complex sentences. Functionally, sentences are of mainly four types. Sentences are of mainly four types. One is declarative sentence. An assertive sentence means declarative sentence simply expresses an opinion or feeling, or makes a statement or describe things. In other words, it declares something. This type of sentence ends with a period, that is a full stop. Such kinds of sentences are ending with full stop, and these sentences expresses opinions, make statements or describing things, and that's why it is called a declarative sentence. For example, I want to be a good cricketer, just like the example we previously seen, that I want to be a doctor. I am very happy today. I am very happy happiness is related to your feeling, and becoming a good cricketer is a statement that you wanted to quote. That's why this is an expression. First example express the statement or your thought, and second example is related to your feeling that I am very happy. So there are more examples of declarative sentence, but we are not going in detail about that. Then there is imperative sentences also. There are four types, and these four types are: one is declarative sentence, second is imperative sentence, third one is interrogative sentence, and fourth one is exclamatory sentence. First declarative sentence we have seen. Now there is imperative sentence. We use an imperative sentence to make a request or to give a command. Imperative sentence usually end with a period, that is full stop, but under certain circumstances it can end with a note of exclamation. For example, please sit down. I need to sit down now. Imperative sentence. Generally, imperative sentence means the sentence uttered with the intention of order. Sit down is an order, but this is an imperative sentence. Sometimes you are asked to make imperative sentences from the given passage in the examinations. But if you want to make imperative sentence, you should start with the verb. This is the basic condition of imperative sentence. An imperative sentence indicates the order. Please sit down. It is definitely a request, no doubt at all. But if you give command to the junior, you can simply say that sit down or stand up, shut the door, open the door. All these are imperative kind of sentences. Imperative sentences indicate order or a request. Please remember this. Then interrogative sentence. Interrogative sentence asks a question. Interrogative sentence must end with a note of interrogation, that is question mark. Interrogative sentence means the sentence which is asking something, that is there is a question only. For example, where are you going to submit your assignment? When are you going to submit your assignment? Do you know him? These are the questions, and simply the meaning of interrogative sentence is the question you ask to somebody. So remember that interrogative sentence means the question form of the statement which ends with the question mark. Then fourth point is exclamatory sentence. An exclamatory sentence expresses overflow of emotions. These emotions can be of happiness, wonder, sorrow, anger, etc. Exclamation means to exclaim. You in the force of or overflow of your emotions utter something. For example, what a day it was. How beautiful the scene is. Wow, it's a beautiful thing. I cannot believe he would do that. Such kinds of sentences, the sentence indicates your intimate exclamation. These sentences are called exclamatory sentences. So these are four types of sentences, as well as some functionally types of sentences. That simple sentence, complex sentence, compound sentence, complex compound sentence, and Another types are declarative sentence, imperative sentence, interrogative sentence, and exclamatory sentence. So these are the types of sentences you should use in your day-to-day communication with each other. So you must understand basically the types of sentence. This is the motto of this unit, and we have discussed about all the types of sentences with the examinations. Thank you very much.